Hello, welcome back. We are going to look at SUI. This entire week we're going to look at altcoins, so if you have any requests, please drop them in the comments. And like I said, today we're looking at SUI. This is one of the absolute bangers. This bull market is so strong that I don't even dare to short this coin, because it's or going sideways or usually going higher, except then from this grind low that we see. But overall, on a daily basis, this thing is so strong. It's incredible. So I'm looking for much higher targets. This is first the weekly, and I said already in previous videos that we are going to build every chart from scratch. However, I already now drew a couple of things in because of else the video gets too long. First thing I want to mention is that I stick to my guns. I said in a video that I made a while ago that I'm aiming for $7 for SUI, and I'm still aiming for that. Matter of fact, I made that video here, SUI to $7, about 9 months ago. Like I said, I'm sticking to my guns. However, I do have to say that most likely I am too conservative, and now I am aiming for even higher. If I take a fib pool from the last all-time high that were created, then to that macro low here in April in 2025, then you can see that for an extended golden pocket at that $7, so $7.62 and $7.74. However, like I said, I think it's too conservative. I'm looking now at way up $11. That is the next golden pocket fib pool, $11.27 and $11.39. So let's say way up $11, probably $12. That is now my new macro target for this bull run. And if you then look at what will that do with the valuation, well, right now we have a valuation for SUI here, number 13 on the list, of $13.5 billion, and we're trading at around $3.90. So if we would then go to approximately 11 or 12, so let's say this goes times 3, then you're at and around approximately $30 billion. That would catapult it, it's $40 billion, excuse me, that would catapult it somewhere here between 7 and 8. However, you have to imagine if this thing goes another 3x from here, that will also mean that all of these other coins will also go much higher. So I think to eventually go to approximately $11 or $12 for SUI, valuation of 40 billion is still nothing out of the ordinary. The question is only, how do we get there? Will BTC and ETH bleed and then the money flows into altcoins, or do we see real FOMO kicking in? A lot of late longers, fresh capital, but late longers, and those will then eventually be the ones that pumping the bags all the way up to $11 or $12. We'll see by time. Again, for now, that is my macro target. So yes, $7 is still an absolute minimum for me, but now I'm looking out to $11.40, probably $12 for SUI. Okay, cool. Now the question is, how do we get there? Because of course you want to see some local trading setups. Let me quickly walk you through about what I have already drawn in a chart, a macro volume pool. I have marked the all-time high, and I have marked 2 trend lines and a tap daily. So first, now a macro high that we created right here on the 12th of May, and we have not tapped that on this last push higher. Then we have 2 pretty clean trend lines. One is here, where you can see you have a touch point here and a touch point here, and one trend line we have here. We have numerous touch points here on the daily, and they're coming together right here in this junction. Obviously, what I would like to see is the following. So I have a couple of long trades and short trades for you. Let's first look at the somewhat more medium / macro long trade. One could be quite nice. So we have a tap daily here at $3.38, and I'm keeping it in because you can see that the candle of this day right here, Sunday 13th of July, had a tap on that daily and it responded very nicely. So therefore I'm keeping it in the chart. And if I then mix these 2 trend lines, then you could say, well, not only do we have that tap daily, we have this macro point of control again, and that's a thick red line, that's the most consecutive volume of this entire period, and we have these 2 trend lines that are then coming together. Also, I have an anchored VWAP here all the way from the bottom. So you can imagine that maybe in a couple days from now, if price comes lower, that this entire zone right here could be a very interesting zone to long. So of course you have to look at how price will react and how it would look like once we're there. But there's just so much confluence here. Again, 2 trend lines, point control, tap daily, anchor view up. This is a beauty. So therefore, this could absolutely be a swing trade all the way up to that 11 or 12 dollar. What I would do is, once we reach that area, I am not going to be all too eager. I'm going to let price play out. So I will most likely enter them based on 4-hour candles or even daily candles. I am not going to rush, and I'm going to put my stop loss whatever is then the low. Yeah, so there will be very locally. You can imagine maybe something like this. You know what? Let me zoom in on the 4-hour because it gets a little bit cluttered here. I'm going to zoom in. Alright, so here's that box. Let me also make this a little bit tighter and neater, else it's going to look a little bit ugly. And then also we are going to look at the more local stuff so that you can get in a trade quite fast. Alright, so that's this one right here. So you have to imagine that price maybe comes back then to that trend line. First you will see a small bounce, you think, oh, that's it, and then the early longers are getting wrecked. Maybe then we're going to the point of control, and then maybe overnight in the Asian session we're getting one more sweep down, and then eventually higher. So something like this that is not as pretty, but we're spending a quite amount of time. This would really be something that I will be looking out for, and then eventually place a trade. So if we get here, you have time, okay? Don't rush it. I would also not preset it. Matter of fact, if you do preset it, then I would say try some limits, but not really my kind of style. I would look for at and around this area, so that is then $3.35 all the way up to $3.55. $3.35 all the way up to $3.55. So much confluence here at that area. Now, for all you pattern traders out there, this is something that I've noticed, not something I am trading, but you could say that right now we are creating a diamond pattern, and usually those are top signals, not always, but usually, and then yeah, I actually expect that this is the top again. I think that we're going much more here, but then what you would do, or if you're trading this pattern, then you would say I'm waiting for it to break out, and that is eventually what I'm trading. So let's say we are going higher. Once we close then a 4-hour candle above, then is when you get long. Stop loss goes underneath these lows right here at around $3.81, and then you trade a higher, or you wait for the back test of that trend line and then you go in. However, with these patterns you do not always get a clean back test. Again, this is not a pattern that I will be trading, this diamond pattern, but I cannot unsee it. So again, if you are a pattern trader, this is then what you're looking for. Let's say in the case that we are breaking down, I am wrong and we are going low, then of course exact same principle, you're waiting for the crack down, for a break, and then you go in on a back test, or once we close a 4-hour candle underneath that trend line. Okay, with that being said, then a bit more local, something that I like actually a lot, and then I actually need to zoom in here on the 1 hour. So you could classify as just pure consolidation, right? Because this thing has been moving like crazy. If I then have a volume pool here, yeah, that looks good. Let me see if I take one here. Yeah, and the reason why I put this yellow line in here, $3.81, I mean here on the 1 hour you can see how nicely that acted as a support and resistance. I mean, I can mark it quickly on the chart, but you can see incredible. So therefore, if you see something like this, such a strong SR level, just mark it. We will most likely come back there again. So what I'm liking about this idea is, let's say we are going lower, yeah, leave the diamond pattern now for what it is. We're going lower and then we're dipping down to take liquidity underneath this low and this low into this small area, preferably into the point of control, and then a quick reclaim. We cannot wait here. We right away need to push higher once we get under this trend line, under this support and resistance line of $3.81, right? I want to see an instant reaction. If we are starting to close a 4-hour candle underneath that $3.81, I am out. But this actually could be a very nice long. Again, you are then sweeping these lows into the point of control, long from the lows and short from the highs. This would be a super nice trade. Something else you could do, and this one is a bit more conservative, but at least you have more confirmation, is if you are just like me on the long term very bullish, you're waiting for a breakout. Now yes, you are going to long the highs, but you're waiting for a breakout and a retest, so that you then eventually know that the range, we're going to leave the range, so we're breaking higher above that value area high. That is at and around $4.04 to be precise. Then a back test. You're then also getting a back test of these highs right here, and again the value area high, and then to go higher. Since the point of control is so close, count that as valid. So even if we dip just real quickly higher, dip back here into the point of control, these highs, just don't take it for a few cents more or less, and then to go higher, that will be nice, because the top here is $4.04 and the point of control is at $4. So we're talking about 4 cents here, folks. Don't make it too complicated. Again, this will be a very nice long. Yes, you're long at the top, but at least you have confirmation that we are leaving the range and that we're probably breaking out higher. You could try, if you are bearish, to short here on this classic S&P. Not something I would do, so I would not short this high right here that we created at and around that $4.25, but I would wait then for this more macro high that is at $4.29, let's say $4.30, to have that S&P then to go lower, with the idea that we are in a macro range, right? And that you are also close to that value area high, and you're saying, listen, I am shorting this because all I'm doing is I'm just taking a short from the high of the range, clear S&P, and then to go lower. Most likely not a trade that I would be interested in, or the one that I'm taking. For now, I'm mainly looking at longs, but this could be something that you could be doing. One other long I want to give you, and that one is a bit more tricky, but could work out nonetheless. Again, we're now going back here to the 1 hour, and that is that let's say you are eventually breaking lower, you're not getting this this long trade, right? So let's say for whatever reason you're just going to dump, so this one is not playing out, and we are not going as deep as $3.35, $3.50, but we are going to come close to this trend line. So let's say we're doing something like this, we're marking this low, yeah, and then we are eventually going to dump down. We are going to tap this trend line, and then right away a reclaim of this low, of this level right here. You get a huge fake out to the downside. You do not get a whole lot of time to load out the bandwagon, but I want to see an instant reclaim of this low. $3.65 instant reclaim of this low. You cannot wait, because if we do, we're going to build value here. There's going to be a lot of time, a lot of auction, and then eventually I think that is more bearish. So you want to see a quick reclaim, just like what you have seen here. A quick move up usually, whoops, that was the wrong tool. A quick move up usually means a quick move down, but here what this is saying is that buyers are pushing price. So you want to see the exact same price action again, that these buyers who bought here are now defending price and again pushing price as fast as possible up again. Therefore I do not want to see any hold up here. It just needs to move, go. That is my criteria. Okay, that will be it, I think, for this video. We're already in 30 minutes. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Also, feel free to drop your favorite altcoin. Then I will try to consider it and to chart them. And also make sure that you like, subscribe, click on the bell, click on all so you don't miss anything. And see you guys very soon again in the next one. Ciao.